You are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the WHOA GNV Podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa! I feel good this morning. That was a good one, right? Yeah, you like that? Maria likes that.
And we determined you look good with the outfit that you have on.
Yeah,
and
the lighting, I feel like the lighting, I feel
it's all working.
Entrepreneur AF this morning. Like, look at this. Look at these pants and the shirt.
The shoes.
The shoe.
Where are the shoes at? Let's see the shoes.
Everything,
see
man.
the shoes.
Like, oh.
Boom. Boom.
So, everything, dude. So, good morning, everybody. Let me finish the intro real quick. Today on the show, we have Garrick Crocker, like Betty Crocker.
Yeah, Crocker like Betty Crocker.
he wrote that in there. Oh. Okay. Betty Crocker, there you go. Owner and general manager of Rap Spot, The Sign Universe, and Fab Studio. What's up, man?
I'm here. I'm excited to be here.
He is here. And with him, we have Taylor Wright, the director of marketing and sales. Well, for everything that Garrick does.
Basically.
Right? Well, guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Super pumped to have you.
It's awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. I can't wait to get into it. But first, let me explain to everybody a little bit what's going on, because I've already changed the game. I've already changed the game this morning, right? So we've been having nonprofits on the show, and unfortunately, I had a nonprofit that had to pull out last minute, which but it was okay because I came up with another brilliant idea, because that's what I do, right? I'm like, I got this. I'm going to invite a student entrepreneur on the podcast and let her be here, because I'm thinking, okay, like, hey, startup world, going to be able to maybe ask you guys a couple questions. You know, it's good. You guys are veterans. Got this. So Maria Alaez from Unboxed is on the show. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm super excited to have you.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So why don't you, for everybody who probably doesn't know what Unboxed is, because you are like really new, right? You're still a student at the University of Florida. What year are you?
Second year.
Second year. Okay.
Starting early.
And
like
are you majoring in business? Like?
No, I'm double majoring in advertising and Chinese.
Okay. Are you gonna get? Okay. Wow. That just sounds hard to me.
Well, she's basically being able to broker the deal before you even hear about it.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm like, wow. Okay.
You just ordered 10 million of whatever.
Yeah. Boom. So why don't you tell everybody like what Unboxed does? Like, give me like the 30-second pitch and maybe a 1-minute pitch, and just kind of let the world know what you guys do.
Absolutely.
Because you're the co-founder.
Yes.
And who is your partner?
Anna Primo.
Okay.
Yeah. So her
shout out to Anna.
Yeah, shout out to Anna.
I know Anna too.
Yeah. Yeah. So Unboxed is basically a care package for college students. We started this with the idea that college students have a lot to balance on their plates, and typically their physical and mental health kind of get put on the back burner during a lot of the different activities. So this is going to be a subscription-based box that will be delivered to their doorstep every month, that has different items that help them like between like being like personally and physically well, getting more involved in their community, and being more like organized and productive.
Cool.
What an awesome idea.
Where'd you guys come up with this idea? You're just like,
Well, it kind of came about because both of us have parents that didn't study in this country, so coming into college we didn't have a lot of guidance, and we kind of like had some like rough patches because of that. So we kind of wanted to make something that we could like give to other students where they could have like the guidance that we didn't.
Got it. So how are things going so far? Like, what's the process like at this time?
So right now we're working on like all like the legal parts. So actually today I'm meeting with some lawyers in terms of like drafting up contracts for like the partners that want to be like inside our box. And then other than that, we're working in the co-accelerator right now at the Innovation Hub. And we're pretty much on track to start shipping out in the fall when the new students come in.
Shout out to Co-Accelerator.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I got lots of shout outs this morning.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So, and how long have you been working on the project thus far, the business?
It's been about like 4 to 5 months since like we've begun, and like it's been a little tough because like we're both like full-time students, and like I have a job and everything, so it's been like a little bit slow, but this semester in the co-accelerator it's been like picking up, and we're super excited to get a lot of work done.
Okay. You have a job outside of being an intern for Repaint as well?
Yes.
Okay, so Maria is an intern as of this semester.
Yes.
For Repaint the Wall, which is my new media agency. Mm-hmm. Well, cool. No, I should say my new media unagency.
There's the term.
Branding. Go with the unagency.
Get it?
She's like the example of what I say. Time isn't something you have. Time is something that you make.
Yeah, true that. Well, it's funny because everybody keeps saying, like, why do you call it an unagency? And I'm like, well, because when I was trying to describe it, I'm like, it's super unique, it's untraditional, it's unorthodox. I'm like, it's an unagency because everything started with un. But well, cool. Well, thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And co-hosting. That's really cool. Good luck with the project. I hope that you can come up with some really great questions to ask these guys. So just feel free to throw them out there as we get into this.
I have a philosophy about everything.
Yeah, we're already over here brainstorming questions for her.
All right. Well, good. Like that's probably even better. So, well, and I want to start by telling everybody like some really, really big news. And in one, I was already psyched about having you guys on the podcast because we had talked about it before. But then I got this brilliant idea because you were one of the first people that reached out to us that said, hey, we would be interested in sponsoring the podcast. A long time. Yeah, in the early episodes. I'm like, dude, I'm kind of honored that you like even would even think about it even this early. But here's the thing, and everybody knows this when it comes to the podcast. I'm like, all right, like one, I want the world to know, like that's not why I'm doing. I'm not doing this for the money. I'm doing this for Gainesville. This is my way of giving back to Gainesville, right? And Ty as well. Like he's super, super invested into building up this community, and so we were very much on the same page like that. We want to do this for Gainesville. Now, obviously, it's getting expensive. The shows get expensive. Yeah, like setup, everything. And so it's like, well, when people started expressing interest in sponsoring, it's like, okay, like that's something I definitely want to do, but I want to make sure that we do it our way, a little bit unique. I don't want to do what all the other podcasts do, because a lot of people who have heard, if you've listened to any of these episodes, then you would know that I've said, like, I literally listened to like one episode of one podcast ever before recording my own. So I literally had no idea what I was doing. And I was like, I'll
wing it.
I'll basically innovate what people think podcasting is.
So unpodcasting?
I'm unpodcasting now. But anyway, I wanted to make sure that we were doing something completely different. And then I got this idea. And that's where everything starts to change, right? When I get an idea. And I'm like, look, what is it that the podcast really needs right now? Like, I want more people to know about it, right? I want more people to listen to it. I want more people to share it. I want to get the messaging out about what we're doing, what we're trying to accomplish. So I had reached out to you guys and said, look, I got an idea, and this is what I want to do. And so this is what we're going to do. And there's still some details to figure out, but I still feel like this is an appropriate time to kind of let everybody know what we're going to do. I asked these guys if they'd be willing to let us give away a wrap
a whole wrap.
Like a total vehicle wrap.
Like a total vehicle wrap, which is like worth what? Like, I mean, on a typical car.
I'd say like with design, we're in the right around that $2,500 range.
All right, so this is a $2,500 value that we're going to be giving away. And all you're gonna have to do to get it. So, and this is what we want, right? We want the business community to really share the podcast. Like, hey, you need a vehicle wrap for your business. Like they're giving one away. Wrap Spot and the WHOA GNV podcast is giving one away. So this is what we're going to do. I want you to you're gonna go to the WHOAGNV.com. Right, that's our website. I'm gonna have a link on there. Click giveaway, and we're just gonna have a form on there. And what that form is going to allow you to do is, you're just basically gonna put your name, address, and some of that other very basic information in there. And then as soon as you do that, you're entered to win. Of course, we're gonna ask that you share this with other business owners and people that you think would like benefit from having a wrap. If you are a person and you listen, if you are a person and you listen to the podcast, if you are an individual that doesn't have a need for a wrap,
hey, we could wrap your bedroom.
You can wrap the bedroom.
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of wall wraps lately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
We'll find something.
Surprising me all the time.
The refrigerator.
What I was going to say was you could donate. If you win and you don't have the need for a wrap, you could donate it to your favorite business or maybe nonprofit, right? We're gonna let them decide what to do with that. So if you're a person but don't necessarily have a need for a wrap, then still share it. Like, help us get the word out about the podcast, because we really want. I was like, man, this is gonna be a good opportunity for us to build up the podcast, build up the listenership, but at the same time, like, we're not benefiting. The podcast is not benefiting monetarily from it, but it is still bringing us value, because we want, again, to build the podcast, and it's going to give somebody in town. And you have to be in Gainesville, or I mean, I guess if you're in Ocala or something, you got to be willing to come to Gainesville to get it, right? But we want to give a Gainesville business owner the benefit of having this wrap for their business. Cool.
So I think like every boss should like put this up in their break room and be like, employees, you have to go fill out this form or else.
I mean, it's definitely a good opportunity. I'm excited to see what happens. We are excited about the opportunity to give this wrap away that's going to benefit a Gainesville business. And I just wanted to thank you guys for doing that.
I think it's going to be awesome.
Man, I'm pumped.
Me too.
And I know, like, and you were just telling me recently that you guys are timing is kind of interesting, because you have like a block party or something that you're doing.
Yeah, March 29th.
You're doing a big old party, baby.
We're doing it's like just a get together. Just, people who have wraps can come, bring their wrapped vehicles. People who don't have wraps can come and watch us do a demonstration. We're gonna have food, and First Magnitude signed on for donating some beer. And
Adams Ribs Co. and First Mag are providing all the beverage and food.
We're just gonna have a lot of fun, and basically talk about what we do. Kind of do a bit of an open house at the shop, and just everybody come together, and our shop is kind of in a plaza, and ServPro's doing some sponsoring there. So everybody kind of like a neighbor. And, everything's about relationships. So at the end of the day, it gives us a chance to, make some new relationships, have some fun.
So when is that again?
March 29th.
March 29th. What time? Is that a Saturday?
It's a Friday night, so it's from 6:30 to 9.
Okay.
And
Elio's going to be there, spinning some tunes.
Yep. and just to...
drumming. I love Elio's drumming.
Dude, he's crazy.
Just to throw it out there, too, awesome. All the proceeds from the event are benefiting the Boys and Girls Club.
Cool.
So we are bringing them out. They're going to have a lot of people there in Boys and Girls Club attire and kind of showing off, and we're really partnering with them quite a bit lately.
Adams Rib just stepped up and helped wrap one of their vehicles, so that's
sweet.
kind of a nice tie-in with all of that.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Well, cool. Well, I'm excited about that. That'll be awesome. Hopefully you get a whole bunch of wrapped vehicles out there. Everybody's like partying it up, taking tours.
It's almost like a car show, but like with a business spin on it.
Right.
That's the way I kind of look at it.
I think we should have one parking spot just reserved for a scooter, a wrap scooter.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
We've done it before. It's cool. Well, awesome. Well, I'm excited for that event. And again, thank you guys so much for being our first sponsor and giving away this wrap. I'm super excited to see who wins it. And we don't even know when we're going to give it away. It'll probably be in a month from when this episode releases. This releases March. So, I mean, maybe a week or two after the block party, because the block party this episode airs on March 11th.
Yeah, you can come to the block party and sign up at the block party.
Okay. We'll do that too. That's a great idea.
I think that'd be great.
Awesome. Sweet.
Thanks for letting us do it. We're loving the opportunity to come in here and partner up with you guys.
Well, I'm excited because
some awesome stuff
so now let me take you guys listeners back even a little bit more. I mean, so I'm kind of now related to Garrick.
You're not supposed to tell people that.
So the branch just went that way.
It's funny because we've been friends for a long time. And Garrick
and our familyness has probably come from our friendship.
Oh no, of course. So Garrick, this was years ago now. I don't even know how long ago. But Garrick reached out to me because his daughter Hannah was looking for a position, I guess, right? Yeah. Or she was looking job. I mean, she was working, but she was kind of like.
I think you put out that you were looking for somebody who could come in and be a part of your team, and I was like, well, Hannah needs a good solid position with a place that would be fun and energetic and interesting. And
that's right. We were looking for our scooter traffic controller,
something like that.
That's what we were calling it. It was like a reception position, somebody who can kind of handle the phone.
That's totally a millennial job name.
She came in.
And she's one of those people that like energetic and fun.
Yeah, no,
and
she's perfect.
just a great kid. And then I was looking and I go, oh. That'd be such a great fit to work over there.
Yeah.
So.
No, she was absolutely perfect. And actually, what's ironic about that is I had been into where she was working and she was hosting, and like I walked in there, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like,
I'm gonna steal that employee.
I'm like, it's funny because she was doing a great job, but I was like, that's Holly's daughter. I could recognize her. I knew they look they look like twins.
We were in a restaurant on Friday or Saturday, and somebody comes up and goes, "Are you Hannah's mom?" And she's like, and we get this. We were in Lake City one day, and the person waiting on us like, "Are you Hannah and Justin's mom?" And it's like, what? So those genes run deep.
Funny. Yeah. Well, and so she came in. So we did hire her because she was awesome, and she came in and she was awesome. It's funny because she kind of got bored in that job. Like she's too wants to learn more and more and more and more.
Oh, yeah.
Right? She wants to learn more and more. So she went from there to being like in sales to being in service to now she's worked her way to being our sales manager, and then over her time here fell in love with my brother Brad, who's our service manager. So now we got Brad as service manager, Hannah as sales manager, and they're married.
They get married.
They just got married in October.
And so that brings
our now we're
together.
Related.
Holly was like, "What does that make him to us?" And I'm like, "Nothing,
nothing really." But that's still fun to say.
30-second cousins.
Yeah. So it's like brother, son.
Well, Hannah's my sister-in-law.
So yeah.
So Hannah's.
You're like one of my kids then.
I know, that's how I feel. I want to go on the next cruise. They go on all these family cruises together. I'm like, I want to go on the cruise.
We got to get everybody on one of these cruises.
But you have to do a podcast on the cruise.
Oh, of course.
Dude, that'd be epic. So anyway, I've known Garrick for a long time, and now his daughter, Hannah, is my sister-in-law, if I can remember all the processes in my head.
And we're your first sponsor.
And you're our first sponsor. So it's just super fitting. So thanks, man. It
and
really
and we're neighbors too.
We are.
We live around the corner.
In the same neighborhood. Well, it does mean a lot to me. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much. I want to get into the story because you've been a businessman for a long time. And how many years now?
All my life. I mean,
all your life.
I can't remember a time when I wasn't fixing lawnmowers in the neighborhood for people, or mowing their lawns, or I did a photography stint when I was in high school for people, and I mean, just always doing something.
Go ahead, take me back. Tell me.
And he was just as bald then as he is now.
Yeah.
No, actually, I had a beautiful head of hair. And I shaved it this morning to come on here.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Make it nice and shiny.
For anyone that doesn't know me,
the reflection of the lights off your head.
See, that's what's causing the good lighting on you.
We found the secret.
So yeah, so you just need me to sit in the corner every time. But my family had donut shops, and a couple of donut shops, and I went off to college and got an accounting degree, and so I have a Bachelor of Business Administration in accounting, and I would have got a minor
from where?
Mercer University up in Macon, and so I got this accounting degree, and I came home and started running the family business, and we had 2 donut shops, and my brother and I, worked them together, and then he left the business. It's hard to work with family. I don't know if you've ever experienced that, but it's hard to work with family. And then I opened 3 additional donut shops, and over time got out of the donut business. I had a accounting office at that point, and it's because of the donut business that I got into the sign business, because I was buying a lot of signs and a lot of just all kinds of displays and stuff for the donut shops, and I was at the sign shop all the time, and I really got interested in it. And this older guy had the place, and he was kind of like a mentor kind of guy, and so I hung out at his place a lot and learned how to do a lot of stuff there. So later on, fast forward, a bunch of years, I was in Denellen, and I opened another donut shop, and next door I put in a sign shop, and that's where, and then I had a printing company there. And we did a clothing store. Like, I had every space in a plaza. Have you ever seen these plazas and you go, that's kind of empty. I'd really love to do something with them. Well, I had like the donut shop, and then the sign shop, and then a clothing store, and then we took over like this 5,000 square foot space on the end, and I had a pack and ship, and I mean, we did screen printing. I mean, it was just like all kinds of stuff.
You ever see the people that just open a business because they need to open a business?
Yeah, that's him.
Well, it turns out that, like, you know, it was a great place to, and I had a partner with the screen printing company, and it was great because
You kind of have to, right? Because you can't manage all that.
No, I mean, well, I think that, you know, like with the donut shops, I ended up selling that in order to buy equipment. You know, it was, it was like buy something, sell something, and kind of grow through all those different things. But yeah, with the screen printing, my partner, he and I also opened the clothing store together. We had a Columbia Sportswear clothing store, and so that was kind of a, you know, we made like, I thought, good decisions because like with men's clothing, the fashions don't change. So we would buy like twice a year. It turned out you learn a lot about the clothing business, and you only buy like twice a year. But you know, you could keep men's clothing, you know, season after season. In Columbia, I mean, the same Columbia shirt that I had 10 years ago, you know, the PFGs are still the same pretty much. You know, they put a little tassel on the thing, and they've, you know.
Now, women's you have to buy every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know how they manage that kind of thing. That's crazy. But the screen printing, you know, we did all kinds of. He and I would screen print at night, and we enjoyed it. I mean, it was just fun time together and goof off.
So this was up there. This wasn't.
No, that was in Denellen.
Denellen.
Yeah, over in Marion County. And then Holly and I got married, and so I thought, well, you know, I'd already sold off the donut shop and sign shop, and the building that I was in sold, and so there was, you know, some changes there. So I came up to Gainesville and got an accounting job at Hale Plantation Golf and Country Club, and I was the accountant there, and you know, insurance and all that kind of stuff. And Holly eventually got a job at Shands, and Shands is a great employer in town, and yeah. I was working at the club, and I got an opportunity to become the chief financial officer at the Gainesville Regional Airport, and I did that for a few years, and that was a great experience. I mean, like if you work in private, you know, industry, and you know, for a private company or, you know, public company even, government is such a radical change. I mean, It was just so different. There's not a profit motive. You know, there's an efficiency motive. You know, you want to save money, you want to do the right things, but at the end of the day, you want to absolutely 100% break even. I mean, that's a shock to the system when you spent your whole life trying to make money, you know. So I'm over there thinking, oh, you know, we'll rent this out, we'll rent that out, we'll make money, you know, and they're like, hold on, relax, slow down.
They're like, nope.
You just made a whole $1.
Yeah, right.
You calm down.
So. I mean, and it was just like a great experience. And the government stuff was, you know, I coined the phrase "moving at the speed of government" because, you know, it was just a whole different pace. And but it was unbelievable. I mean, I met a lot of bankers in town because we were doing some big deals over at the airport. We were building some new facilities and all that financing and everything. And a lot of politicians, you know, come through the airport because it's an economic engine for the area. So I did that for a while, and my former boss at the club, when I was the accountant there, got another job, and I said, well, when you get a new job, I'll take your old one as the general manager at Hale Plantation. And he's like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. So he gets another job, and they call me up, and they say, so, you know, were you serious? And I was like, sure. And so I went back to Hale Plantation Golf and Country Club as the GM for a while, and then Hale, when I was there the first time, was owned by a family. Now, it's also, Club Corp is a company that owns Hale Plantation Golf and Country Club, and Club Corp has 20,000 plus employees, so it's a big company. I mean, it's a, you know, just they have a location here in Gainesville, but it's a big company, which was a great experience also because you learn a lot about how big organizations work and have to work. But Club Corp sold to a private equity firm, and there was a point there where there was a lot of change in the company, so I decided that I was going to open another sign shop. And so I opened Engraving Universe because I was doing some engraving out of my garage on the side. And I thought it was funny because, I mean, I've got this engraver in my garage and this little bedroom. I'm doing all this, and I called it Universe. You know, I just thought that was humorous. So
You sound like the master of side hustles to me.
Basically.
Like, not one business, but like 18 different side hustles.
Remember what I said earlier?
you don't.
People that need to start a business just to start a business.
Well, so I was doing the engraving thing, and I opened up a little shop. And when I opened donut shops, people would come and buy stuff. I mean, it was just like retail was, in a way, from a marketing standpoint, very easy. You put a big sign up and you announce that you're going to open a donut shop, and you open the donut shop and there's a line around the corner because people have to have their coffee in the morning. I mean, it was a lot simpler. So I opened this engraving business and I put a sign up, and I was over on Archer Road, across from Beef O'Brady's, and nobody comes. I mean, it was just like, squeak, 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 squeak. So I realized that business to business was completely different. I had to reach out to the people that I had met in Gainesville through being a general manager or through being the chief financial officer. I had to go out and reach out to those people and say, hey, give me a chance to, provide a product or service for you. And so it was very, very fortunate that I had all those relationships in order to kind of build out that whole sign shop thing. And, signs were something I'd done before, so I had a familiarity with it. But it still took a while to kind of get the ball rolling. A little different than what I was used to with, like with the donut shops and clothing store. You just let people know you're there and then they come. But business to business, you really have to build relationships. And early on, I was a little frustrated, so I call up Pete Zemek. Do you know Pete? Mm-hmm. And I call up Pete and I go, hey, what's the deal in this town? These people, it's really, really difficult. And he goes, well, the bad news is you're not going to make it. And I was like, he was a little nicer about it, I think, than that, because the bad news is, it's really hard because, people come and go that, you got to stay around a long time in order to really, kind of be in, you got to make those relationships. He says, but the really good news is if you stay around long enough and if you prove to people that you're going to do a good job, you'll be their provider for life. They're not going to jump from you to the next thing that comes along immediately just because they can. They're going to, you're going to build those relationships, and they're going to be strong relationships. And Gainesville is a relationship town. And I was like, that really makes a lot of sense. And so that really helped me, kind of develop those deep relationships. O2B Kids is a great customer of ours, and I don't really, we start off, we have a joke around the shop, Easy, and Easy's my, second, third employee. I guess second. So, but Easy and I, we talk about, we have customers and then they become family, so it's one of those things where you build that relationship and it's a really strong thing. So like O2B, we've been doing work for them for years and years and years, and just, a lot of great folks in town. And once you establish that you have that relationship, it's great here.
Okay, so how long have you had the Sign Universe for then?
So technically I opened in 2008 as a side hustle, and, with Engraving Universe. I would say 2010. And, of course, when do you open a donut? When do you open a business? Well, when the economy's at the worst possible moment, right, and it's the lowest possible place. That's when you open a business. Can you imagine how that conversation went with Holly? Hey, I'm going to leave my corporate job, and now that things are really bad in the economy, I'm going to go out on my own. What do you think? Well,
Good luck, honey.
Yeah. Support of a great person. So. But what was beneficial at the time is not too long after I opened up, Fast Signs went out of business. A couple of years later, Festival Signs went out of business. Most recently, Creative Workshop closed down. I mean, so if you stay around a while, you create those opportunities as well. Longevity is important.
The other thing Garrick's done that's been really impressive is the fact that he still has employee number 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
So over the last 8 years, he's managed to keep his original 4 employees.
That's pretty awesome.
So like Jimbo used to help me out when he was actually technically employee number 1. Jimbo and Jimbo's having surgery tomorrow if everything goes well. But anyway, he and I were just talking right before the podcast, and so he was number 1, and then Easy came along, and Easy's number 2. And then Kurt came along, and he was number 3. Kurt left a couple times, but came back, and Chelsea came along, and so the very core group of people that have come and gone,
So how many
still
total people do you have?
I think right now we're at 12 full and part-time. Is that
Cool.
good guess?
Yep,
So when did he
12.
sucker you into it?
I think you might be like one of the newest.
Yeah, so funny story. So I actually used to own a clothing company, and that's how I met Garrick, was through a mutual friend of ours who was doing my screen printing for my shirts. And that was about 3.5 years ago. And we just got onto this kind of funny routine of every couple months I'd swing by the shop, he'd make me a couple stickers, and we'd talk for 3 hours.
Yeah.
About just business and sales and
he'd watch me wrap a trailer or something. I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff.
And I
whatever.
thought it was kind of the cool stuff, and so I just kind of got suckered in on the cool level.
You're just kind of like watching, observing while he's working.
Yeah,
And
and so then about 8 months ago, we kind of started talking a little bit more about maybe me doing some sales for him. I've been in and out of sales pretty much my entire adult life. Heck, I used to sell Boy Scout popcorn, so childhood too.
Yeah.
And so 6 months ago, I came on and started doing some outside sales for him while I was still working for another company. And then that lasted exactly a month. And he sat me down and goes, okay, so you can't just sell a whole bunch of stuff and then not be here during the day. So we're going to need you to sell stuff and be here full time.
Well, and it's like I could see a lot of things in Taylor that energy. I mean, just a great fit for the team, attitude, all kinds of different things. Like, after, several weeks, you kind of get years really. But the really cool thing to me was like, I'm getting older. He's really keyed into the social stuff and all those things where I have weaknesses. He
Good,
has
Taylor.
strengths.
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for being keyed into the social stuff.
Well, I mean, the reality is
I get to be the millennial in the company. Is that what you're telling me?
Well, we have some now.
Hey, man, don't be hating on millennials.
No, I have
I'm a
huge
millennial
respect.
technically. I'm like I think they started calling them zennials, we're like right between or something.
I think I'm.
I think
I'm 1982 is.
I'm not like one of those old people. I guess I'm considered next gen or Gen X. I don't know, somewhere in there.
I don't even label people anymore.
But the reality is things are changing so fast. Things are so it is. You have to be dedicated to all of these different platforms, and it's hard to be one person and do all those things. And we have a lot of people that are contacting us on a daily basis for new work, and somebody needs to be that relationship builder in addition to me. So it's just time. It was a great timing, and I couldn't ask for a better person to be working with. Taylor's got, in addition to being like a lot of energy and all, he's got a great heart too. So when we look at like an event, it's like, oh, let's figure out a way to kind of tie that into the community, and let's also make sure that it has a charity kind of piece to it, and all those kinds of things. And so somebody who thinks like that also, it's really, really nice and refreshing, and it's great to have that kind of thing.
Cool. Good job, man.
Yeah, thanks. Garrick doesn't ever give himself enough credit. So when he talks about how we bring customers in and they quickly become a family with us, that's even more so with employees. I can count, I can't even begin to count how many times Garrick has completely stopped exactly what he's doing to run out of the shop and go help one of our employees, or they're having car trouble. Let's figure out how to get your car to the shop. Oh, you can't pay for it. Let's go ahead and take care of that, and we'll just take care of it later.
Yeah, we got it.
So
free signs at Sign Rep. Rap spot.
Well, I think that I sent you a list of things that I kind of believe in on a business basis.
Yeah, on my preliminary questions here.
What, 7 pages?
I'm like looking at all the bold words like profit is everything.
Profit is everything. People so often, like in your startup over there, you're going to sit there and you're going to go, well, we can sacrifice profit in order to have market share. I don't believe that. I think that you have to have. I am absolutely boggled by the concept of Amazon losing money for like 100 years or something, whatever it's been. But because I think that, especially in small business, you have to have enough value that there's more value than what you're putting into it. So that to me is the profit side of it, and it's very, very, very important. And then what does it say after that though?
Fair profit. Don't be greedy.
Don't be greedy.
Customers find out everything.
Customers do find out
be as
everything.
transparent as you can be.
Well, you also do have to touch on the fact that when you say profit, a lot of people aren't going to understand what you fully mean by that. Profit is not just money in your bank account. It's the learning side.
Yeah,
if you're gaining knowledge,
a lot of R&D.
If you're getting knowledge out of what you're doing, that's profit. And you can't put a dollar value on that. There's nothing to be said against like a degree in business, but there's also nothing that can ever replace real world business knowledge. You go out, you make a deal, it fails, you learn from it.
Oh yeah,
that is priceless. There's no way to put a dollar value on that.
We've learned so much over the years. In the early days, we made a lot of mistakes. I used to, print the wrong color for O2B, for example. They're very specific about their purple and their yellow and their green. And
you're messing with people's brands.
So bad that we've literally named them O2B yellow and purple.
Yeah. I mean, Pantone 123 is O2B yellow. I mean, that's just how it is around our shop.
You gave out the secret now.
Yeah, it's true. I replaced a lot of stuff for free because that I felt like was a big part of the learning experience for us. It was an investment on my part to make sure that we did it right in the future. And, I'd go and reprint a whole whatever just to make it right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's going to happen in any business. Like, I mean, if you're going to take care of the customer, if we replace a headlight on a scooter and then it goes out 30 days later, okay, it was a bad bulb. Or something, you know what I mean? It's like we're gonna replace the headlight bulb.
Yeah,
I mean, you take care of the customer.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
at the end of the day, that hurts your dollar value profit.
Right.
But if you learn from that, and so you say, okay, so we've used this bulb manufacturer, and 6 out of 10 we're having failures.
Of course, yeah.
We're gonna change manufacturers. Yet you're still profiting out of that, at least knowledge side.
No, of course.
It's interesting. A big part of building a business has been creating vendor relationships too, like your bulb distributor. Just finding those vendors who will also perform, to make sure that you look good. If you need something tomorrow, you know where you can get it. If you need something that's special, you know where to get it. We have a lot of suppliers, and it took a long time to find the ones that would deliver every day to Gainesville and, those kinds of things as well.
Yeah.
So relationships are on so many different levels.
Of course.
It's crazy.
Relationships are everything.
Yeah.
You guys are giving me very basic entrepreneurial lessons right now, so I want to get deeper.
I like it.
Like give me like a, let's take it into, and I know I can joke around with you guys like that. I don't know if I can joke around with everybody like that. What's like here we are. We said 2008 out of the garage, so right. 11 years later. Okay. Like what's the hardest thing that's happened? I mean, even right now, what's the biggest challenge that you guys have as a company?
Taylor calling me salty in the mornings.
Well, stop being salty in the mornings. That's an easy one.
He eats breakfast too early, and so by the time I get in, he's already hungry again.
Oh, dude,
and he's just
I joke.
I get that way.
I think in the kind of business that I'm in, I've struggled a lot with cash flow. I think that it's just so hard. You're putting money out ahead of time, and then you have to wait for it to come back. Because, a lot of places they buy something and then they sell it, and it's pretty quick. We buy something, then we do a lot of manufacturing to it. So that has a time element, and then on top of that, then we'll sell it to somebody like, let's just say University of Florida, and they have their turnaround times of payment. So there might be from the time I buy a product to the time I get paid on it, maybe 3 to 6 months. I mean, it just depends on how involved we are in that manufacturing of the product.
So how do you handle that?
Well, more recently, the longer you're in business, the easier that is in some ways because, I've got an SBA loan, for example, and we were able to kind of get some cash in the bank from that. We've got...
Is that like using the receivables as collateral? Like how does that work?
No, it's pretty much a straight up unsecured loan. Yeah. And there was, which we used it on equipment as well. I mean, we had a list of things that we were going to use, but working capital was definitely one of those items. We have a Spark card, credit cards. We were joking about it yesterday. We have a big job that we're doing where we needed a whole bunch of stuff. We paid it down, like $8,000, and then we charged it back up, in the afternoon, like $7,000, and you said there's that constant flow there as well.
So I mean, even going back to your thing where you say profit is everything, I mean, I might challenge you a little bit on that. Like, isn't cash flow is everything?
Well,
I mean, I get you got to make money, but
for me,
I feel cash flow, is really what determines whether or not you're in business.
They're very closely related.
Well, I mean, look at New Scooters for Less, for example. I mean, we're in February, and I'm just like, please, Lord, just let us sell a scooter.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, we need some cash. I gotta make payroll on Friday.
Right.
Like, let's do this already.
And you just
Please,
went to a
come on.
weekly payroll. We just went to a bi-weekly payroll where I was monthly.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it's
So
every 2 weeks we were
Really, what it comes
There.
down
well,
to
and
is
I'm just saying, like, from that standpoint, like, new scooters for less as a calendar year is profitable.
right.
I know that August is coming.
Right.
I know that there's all these new students coming, and I know that we're going to sell 300 scooters because it's been pretty consistent the last few years. Right, so I look at that number. I'm
So
like,
why aren't you selling 400 this August?
The money is coming. Well, and don't get me wrong. Like we definitely have numbers everywhere of us, working ourselves to get there. But it's just like, dude, it's like, I mean,
Can you fit a scooter in one of your boxes?
even though we know that the business is coming, even though we know that the business is coming in August, we have to survive long enough to get there.
Oh, absolutely.
Amen. I totally.
And what
So that's
get
why I said, like, isn't cash flow king versus?
So what we started seeing in our business is that to continue playing the game that we're playing, we are, in our opinion, the largest sign shop in town, and so we are going after a lot of the larger
the
UF
largest sign shop
contracts.
of our type.
There you go.
Because there's like I would say
Gainesville Neon
might be bigger, but they're mostly electrical and more of that construction side. But I don't want to over exaggerate what we do because we're not.
They're
But
basically
so-
the biggest company in the country.
Yes, universe
If it's said on a podcast, it's true, right?
with the word "the" in it. I don't know.
But so to continue playing that game, we do have to have that cash flow. So to continue doing these big contracts to US, Shands, North Florida, and still have the cash flow, we're having to reach out and really create a strong base of customers that do pay cash and pay on time of receivable. So that's where we're
it's a
pushing the
balance
wrap
for
side.
sure.
Our contractors are coming in, we're wrapping a truck, they're paying for the truck. And then we're
So that
taking
kinda
that
helps
money.
with the
Oh,
short-term
hey!
cash,
Recently,
so I
we
get it.
another real push toward this. We get more deposits than we've ever gotten on hand. We also set up a web store. So, like, if you're a realtor in town and you want to order the same type of sign over and over and over again, we've got a web store for you. It's branded in your name. You can go there, and when you check out, you pay for it, and 3 days later, all your stuff's ready to be picked up. So yeah, we've really kind of created those fast turns as well in order
That's
to,
cool.
and really, profit is, that margin between what you paid for stuff and what you brought in is that additional cash flow. Where I get into trouble or have struggles or, small businesses do is that every single year we've grown. So like, if I were trying to cash flow my first few years, I could do it on a month now, but now it's like, it's so much different than it was back then. So, like we used to order corrugated material, like 1, 2, 5 sheets. We order 260 sheets at a time now. We ordered, aluminum composite. We were ordering 1, 2, 3 sheets at a time. We order 40 sheets at a time. I got racks everywhere to kind of manage all these materials. Like when we're doing wraps, instead of having a wrap kit, we have 3 because we have to have the next one on hand also. So every time that you grow into that thing, you're putting out more money up front in order to develop that future business as well.
So we're having to sit down at the beginning of every month basically and figure out what our cash flow for this upcoming month needs to look like to be able to do what we did the last month.
Yeah.
Which sometimes works out great, and sometimes we get halfway through the month and go,
Uh-oh.
holy crud!
hasn't
We
paid
just
us?
realized that we were gonna hit A, and now somehow we're already at C, and it's the 15th of the month.
Right.
And so we do have to go out and reach those customers that we know, have a vehicle that needs to be done right now, and they have the cash in the bank, so we can say, hey, we can wrap you, we can get you in right now.
Right.
But
We have a lot. I mean,
So if you ever get like a random call from Wrap Spot, it's like, hey, you remember that truck? Like, we should wrap that like today.
that
can
means we just
squeeze
got
you
a
in
giant
right
job,
now.
and we need your help. So
and and the other thing that happens is we have cancellations, just like today with with your co-host, and so we make those adjustments very quickly now. We have great software that I started off. I was going to be paperless. I was like, I'm going to be paperless because that's trendy or something. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't have. I literally.
This is why he's the
it's
old guy
good
in the
for the
business.
I
environment.
literally did not have a printer to print out of my computer, so I was, keeping track of all this stuff, on little notes and stuff. And I thought it'd be
Right.
great. Now we have great software to track every job. We have, and it took years to get to this point. And we have all those kind of like tracking mechanisms to make sure that when we start, when we see that something's going to come amiss, we're going to kind of try to backfill that. And there's great customers that we have that, we can call up and say, hey, what you got going on? What's going on in your world? And, so sometimes they'll say, well, it's not important for me to do that today because I'm not in the kind of business where that has to be done today. But when you have an opening, give me a great deal and we'll do it at that point.
So you've learned how to like manage the cash flow
better than ever. And the more
we're still learning it on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, I mean, I think
every time we turn around, we figure out that there's this other thing that we should be doing, and then the fun part is figuring out how to implement that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I need more cash flow. What can I sell? let me sell the truck today.
Hey, I've thought about selling our work van.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, dude.
When I had my donut shops, I had a car that the title was kept at the bank, and if I needed money, they would just write me any amount of check that I needed, and my car was collateral. I remember this was the years like in the 80s.
Right.
And so you do what you gotta do.
Yeah, sometimes. So Maria, here you are, startup world, right? Like you're in that life now.
Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about that? Does that like scare the shit out of you?
Yeah, absolutely.
When we were talking about cash flow in her eyes,
I know we're like talking. She's like,
my message to you is
it's going to take 10 years.
It's like all of these worries that I have. What questions do you have for these guys?
I think more than anything, it's hard sometimes to like realize like, am I doing the right thing? Because like right now I'm putting so much time into like starting up this business, and like I have to balance so many different things, and sometimes I feel like I just like don't know if this is the right move. Like I don't know if this.
Are you questioning your concept, or are you questioning should I be doing this or that?
Like, should I be doing this or that? Okay. Like, is this like...
I think your concept's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I just, like, wonder, like...
It's like Birchbox for, college students or, or...
Yeah.
What is it that you can't stop thinking about?
I'm just, like, worried that, like, I'm putting a lot of time into it, and, like, what if it goes wrong? But, honestly, like, a couple months ago, like... we like, it was like when things were really picking up, and like I was talking to Anna, and she just said like, look, in the end, like this is a learning experience. Like we take this as almost like a class. Like we're learning so much about the business side.
It's probably cheaper than one of the classes.
Yeah, actually it really is.
Definitely edit that out. UF might watch this.
No, they know. No, but like I think if you take it like, at least for us, like being like so young and like being so new to the world, like we're thinking, like learning it as a class, like we're learning so much about like the legal side, the financial side, even like management and like the actual like operations part of it, that it's just like it has so much value to like my development that I don't mind like putting in the work for it.
I ran a newspaper in college, and it was really interesting because it took a lot of time from my schooling, but it was such a learning experience. And I think and I look back at those things, and I think that the value it's better than any class you'll take.
Yeah, I was going to say,
no question about it. Where are they going to teach you legal in class? I mean, at that level.
Dude, it's so interesting that you say that, because I recently got into a conversation about college with some friends, and like it's recorded somewhere. It's like it's probably on my YouTube channel, but yeah, I mean, we really kind of got into like the actual percentage of knowledge that we took away from college.
Well, what's really interesting is I worked at a law firm the entire time I was in college. And I started off there as, just, clean the gutters kind of kid, do whatever it takes. And then they made me the bookkeeper because I was going to school for accounting. So I guess that kind of made sense at some level. I had no idea what I was doing. And this company had,
2 + 2 is 4.
A couple of lawyers. And I learned so much about law. I learned so much about accounting that the job that I had during college was way more valuable to me long term than the college education. Now, having said that, I mean, I feel like I got a great liberal arts education. I feel like I'm a well-rounded person. I know a lot about the world. Could I have learned those things on my own, though? Yeah, sure, I think so.
Yeah. So, what percentage?
Did
you take away from college that you're actually using today?
So that I think that's a tougher thing.
Just give me the answer. It's not hard. You just give me a roundabout percentage. I feel so confident in this interview right now because like I know Garrick so well, and I'm just like, dude, just give me the answer.
So so I would say that it's probably in my
student
field.
Loans are still out there, so he's trying to figure out how worth it they are.
We haven't even gotten to balddudes.com yet. Or what is it?
Bald Dudes Club. Anyway, in my world, accounting is a technical thing. So probably more than, say, if you got a marketing degree, you know.
So is there an answer?
So I would say 35%.
Okay. Wow. That's good.
But you know what helped me more is the document that I got at the end gave me an in to jobs that would have never allowed me to have without the education. So,
I mean,
or
you're
banks.
so
basically-
100%.
Banks too.
You're just saying the exact same thing that I said, because in this car trip, you know, it's funny. I was dancing around the question too. I didn't give like the percentage.
What was your percentage
It was
study?
it was 10%.
10, okay.
I said 10%.
Well, I'm in a technical field of accounting, so
Literally after they pulled it out of me, though. But I mean, but I took a different angle, and I was like, well, I'm gonna answer this a different way because the value that I got out of it, and this is what now we're gonna circle back to what we're gonna tell you, is the relationships. Like the relationships by far were like the greatest value. I'm still friends with professors at the University of Florida, and those professors, you know, sure, I got some, you know, general knowledge from them in college, but the knowledge that I've gotten from them since, you know,
Way more
they're
valuable.
like way. I mean, they're now, you know, personal friends, and they are like looking at my business, and they come, and even today,
have
like
a great-
I'll sit down with them, I'll meet them. They bring classes here, we give tours of the dealership, and I'm still learning from these individuals. So those relationships have been, you know, have provided me with so much value, and I love them so much. So
Well, I've got a real world kind of thing for, like we hire a lot of Santa Fe designers. I've had, you know, 4 or 5 of them, I guess, and they come to me with great skills. And the issue, though, that I see a lot of times is like, you know, they'll come and they'll be able to do a design, and they'll be like, oh, I can do this design. And then I go, yeah, we got to do that design and 30 more today. So it's so much, you know, you learn those basic skills, but in real life, you get much faster and much more efficient with using them.
gotcha.
That's the thing, that I don't think like college is so much like just the courses, but it's more like the whole entire environment, which is why like even like part of like our whole thing of Unbox is like encouraging students to like be more involved, because I feel like so much of what I've learned hasn't come from like my classes themselves, but like being part of the University of Florida and getting like all the benefits that comes with, whether it be like organizations, clubs, or like possible local internships or jobs and things like that.
I mean, you can grow that into military. You can grow this.
You're doing a lot. I mean, which is great. So I would say, as long as you're not feeling like burnout, I would continue to do what you're doing, because one, you know, it's funny. Anytime I go to the University of Florida and I speak, and they're asking me, you know, like, how do you figure out what you're passionate about? How do you you know, I think it's a very common question, because like in college, you know, students, you're there right now, everybody figures out, like they think they have to have their life figured out right now.
Yeah.
And it's just not true. Like you got so much time, and even if you get in, like even if you graduate and get a job somewhere, like, and you're like, I'm not so sure this is not what I want to do with the rest of my life. Well, then just go in and build as many relationships as possible.
Exactly.
You
You have
know,
to like
and then-
test it out, and it's not so much even like learning exactly what you love at first, but learning like what you don't like. Like I got involved in like a lot of different things in the beginning of college that I was like, this is a good experience, but now I know that like I don't want to do this again, and like that like kind of like trickles down to what you're actually passionate about.
Yeah. So I would just keep exploring, keep doing, do as much as you possibly can. I think you're doing the right way. I knew too many people in college that stayed locked away in their dorm room. They didn't get out. You know, here we're even on the podcast trying to encourage people. Hey, UF students, you can get outside of the bubble, like cross 13th Street once in a while. You know what I mean? Cross University, there, wherever. Like, just get outside of that bubble and get involved. And you're doing the right things, because you're interning with us, and then you're working on a project through the co-accelerator. I mean, just. And working. Where are you working at?
I work at Chance.
Okay.
Hospital,
So
yeah.
cool.
Chance
So I
is
mean,
great.
so
Yeah.
you're doing a variety of different things. You're building a ton of relationships, and I think that in itself is the right direction. Now, how you should prioritize it? To me, if you find yourself being more passionate about one thing over another, that's probably a pretty good sign. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? If you're like,
absolutely.
oh man, I'm really, really loving this, and if you're like really, really, really love your, you know, startup Unbox, then I would say, well, then that's where I would spend all of my time. Because what I discovered with New Scooters for Less, especially in the last semester, when like before I graduated, like I was in love to the point where I was like, I mean, the only reason I didn't drop out of school was because I had 3 months left. You know what I mean? And if it were 2 years prior, like I don't know, I don't know what would have happened. You know, I don't know if I would have. Who knows?
The other thing
what?
I think she's doing right too is that she's putting more pressure on herself, because like you're talking about with building relationships, you also need to build the ability to operate under pressure, i.e.
Absolutely.
doing more designs in a day. So these college kids that go to college, they barely skate by on their classes, they get good grades, but then they just hang out the rest of the time. They're not setting themselves up for success. You are actively on a daily basis stressing yourself to try and do these different things. So when you do graduate and you get in that real world everyday thing, you're not going to have any problem getting up in the morning and go, you know what, I've got 2 hours till I need to be to work, but I can go ahead and bang out 50 orders of Unbox real fast. I could wait till after work, but I could also do it right now. Might be a little tight, but I know I can do this because I've spent the last 5 years of my life doing this to myself on a daily basis.
And you were talking about choices. Holly and I, my wife and I, we have 6 kids between the two of us. And I told every kid, you go get your job at a restaurant. And as soon as, if that's not your passion in life, then at the end of your shift, you go and you start working on getting that job that you really want. And so at any given time, you can be doing something that's not perfect and be creating those opportunities for the next thing. And I think you're already there, so
Yeah.
you got this figured out.
Exploring and finding the opportunities for the next day. I think that's the biggest problem is there's so many people that don't know what they want. Like they don't even know what they want out of life. Well, they're still like I don't know.
I think a lot of people don't I put it in, a lot of people come to us because we're a sign shop and they say, I'm getting ready to open a business or I'm thinking about opening a business. What do I got to do? And I need a sign. That's their first thing. To be in business, I got to have a sign or I got to have business cards or I got to have whatever. And, and I think there's a misperception about, by some folks what business is. It's like, it's really just your state of mind. As soon as you say to yourself, hey, I'm in business, you're in business. Now, you may not stay in business if you don't get the legal figured out and if you don't get the products figured out and you don't get all those different things. But your mindset of I'm in business, that's where it starts off. And a lot of people can't get their head around the fact that they're not going to work for somebody. I know so many people who have said, it's just, I'm the type of person that works for somebody. Why?
This is all coming, for me, I'm like, this is eye-opening for me. Because I'm like, my mindset is I'm going to crush it.
Right. But
every day I'm like, I'm going to crush this day. Like, let's go.
But there are a lot of people who have put up that roadblock in front of themselves and said, I can't do this because of this. I can't go into business because I'm not a business owner. I'm not a CEO. I'm not an accountant. I'm not a marketer. I'm not, you name the thing. And maybe some of those people ought not be in business. But at the end of the day, it's a choice that they're making. It's not something that's, being thrust upon them. So
for sure. What other questions? You got any more?
I think more than anything, I want to understand a little bit more about the challenges that come with owning your own business, because I see that it's very different from working for someone, because you work for someone, your shift ends and you're like, okay, I'm done, responsibilities are gone. But how do you handle that constant responsibility of running your own business?
I'm very fortunate that my wife keeps me in check, so I have to have a life outside of the business. I'd probably work 24/7 if it weren't for her saying we're going to go on cruises, we're going to have our vacation, we're going to have our weekends, we're going to have our evenings, we're going to have dinners, we're going to have all those things. Because I get a little bit caught up in whatever I'm doing and thinking that it's more important. But so you got to find that balance for sure. And I think that's hard to do when there are the stresses of, the customer needs this, the customer needs that, and I promise these things, and I'm going to try to deliver on every single thing every single time by myself. And that's when you have to create those teams and those, that whole infrastructure that supports, your business, whether that's delegating or figuring. But at the end of the day, finding that balance is really tough. You call it living both, I guess, living through the life of it all, and
I call it work-life integration.
Right.
And I got that from my friend Alex, because Alex Willis has just taught me that there's just there is no such thing as a balance. They're not trying to constantly weigh it. It has to be a harmony. It has to be together.
So I think that there's a whole lot of things pulling you in different directions. And that to me is what's hard about the business sometimes. And, it goes back to your question earlier, do I do this or do I do that? How do I prioritize what needs to be done? In the sign business, there's been times when I work through the night to make something because I had that additional 8 hours. I mean, there was just a lot more time that I could actually do that stuff. So, but if you limited yourself to say, hey, I'm done at 5 o'clock, that would be something that would definitely restrict what you could get done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like that's also something it's so much pushed on, your generation is this, gotta grind.
Yeah.
This whole if you're not grinding 24/7, you're not going to make it. And while I agree with, what I just said previously, if you need to stress yourself, you need to push yourself, you do have to be able to step back sometimes and relax. And that's something that's not seen as okay. It's not, it's preached all the time that you got to grind 24/7. You have to be out hustling every day, every minute to make it. And that's not always true. You have to have a mental state where you can step back, relax, refresh, and then come back and hit it hard.
If you have a passion about something, if you have a passion about it, then you're going to make those opportunities even when you're kind of like off, if you will. You're going to still you're still going to be meeting people and making relationships and doing all those things that you're passionate about. So I think that's where the integration comes in.
Our best marketing meetings come when he comes back from a cruise and I just came back from vacation. We walk in, we've got the same idea, and we hit it.
Well, you know what I found about like traveling is that you meet a lot of people who you don't see on a daily basis, so you get experiences and it broadens your horizons, and you see things that other people have done. If you go to the islands, people have a lot of times less resources to work with, and then they'll make something out of something, and you go, oh man, I could, I've got all the resources in the world from the, equipment and materials and everything else, and they did something very clever and very interesting with so much less. It just kind of gets your mind going in a completely different way. And then the other thing that's cool is that no matter where you're at, everybody that you run into in some basic human way is the same. That's like people are, generally decent folks that want to reach out and have a relationship with you as well.
Yeah, it's interesting going back to what you were saying about like the hustling and the grinding and stuff. The thing that I found about this is, at least for me, I don't look at what I do as work.
Right.
I love every second. Like my day yesterday was insane, from waking up at 4:30 in the morning. Which is, again, Alex Willis has got me on. This guy, he's been a huge influence on me. He getting me like 4:30 in the morning I didn't get home till 9:30 last night. But I loved every second of it.
Yep.
Like every second of it. I wasn't like, oh man, I wasn't looking at my watch being like, what time do I get home? Now I did text Shannon, my wife, and be like, hey, I'm really, really sorry. Like things got a little bit crazy today. I had somebody call out sick, and so I had to cover an extra thing, and I said I'm gonna be home a little bit late, but still, like I loved every second of it. And then like it's interesting because when I look at it, in terms of the vacations and this kind of thing for an entrepreneur, entrepreneurs don't ever take the time to celebrate.
Yeah.
100% fact.
We totally
celebrate the little things.
It's funny because I remember that year, the first year in August when we hit 291 scooters sold. That was like that month. We had never, like the year before that, we did like 147. Okay, so like crazy, right? And I remember the goal, I was like, all right, like, let's see. It was calculated. I don't remember what it was, but it's probably like around 175 or something like that, right? And which would have been great. Going from 147 to 175, like, would have been awesome. And then when we hit 200, and we still had like a week left, the whole team's like, we hit the goal, yay! I'm like, the goal's 300 now. I'm like, let's go. I was like, there's no time to for me, I'm like, there's no time to celebrate. Like, it was immediately, I just took the goal and I went, no, the new goal is right here. And I didn't take any time to celebrate. I was like, it's just go. Well, and we do need to. Like, I think we can.
Well, it's kind of like this morning. I go, hey, this place looks so great compared to what it looked like when you moved in. I mean, this place was rough.
Yeah.
And it looks, and you go, yeah, but it could be so much more.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, if you can do better, like, then you can keep doing better. Like, there's no reason to stop.
Well,
Right.
I started off in 1,200 square foot on Archer Road. Then I moved 2,400 square foot in the plaza that we're in now. And then I moved next door, and it was 5,000 square foot. And then we added the space next to that, and it's 6,000 square foot. And and space isn't real. It's really not like a measurement or a tool or anything. It just kind of shows how much growth there was. And at each step, it wasn't like, wow, check out the place we just, it was just, let's grind to the next place. So,
Yeah.
to, kind of speak to what you're talking
The one
about.
thing I feel like needs to be touched on though is celebration. Celebrating your successes is not always money driven. So one thing I think that some kids do get caught up in is they start a business, they make their first $1,000, they go out there buy a watch, and they're like,
Right,
"Oh my
right.
God, I've made it!"
Right.
And then the next day they realize that they need to
just
buy
thing with
another piece of
watches.
equipment.
Me?
No, anybody.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get it. So the next day they realize they got to buy a piece of equipment. It's $500. Now they have a watch they can't buy equipment with. So celebrating your successes is not going out and buying and doing crazy things. It's stepping back for a day.
You can't eat assets.
Yeah.
Yeah, take a day, step back, and celebrate with your friends that helped you get to where you are. Because whether they're in business with you or not, the people around you helped you get there.
And definitely with the team, celebrating with the team. I'm doing a much better job of taking time to celebrate, but I've just always been like, all right, what's next? Now, in the early days, and I think that's a super important lesson too. So if anybody's building a company, I like what you said, going out and buying a watch, right? This is the reality of what happens. I'll be straight up honest. The first thing, when I had my early success with my company, the first thing that I bought, one was a house, which I was like, I'm gonna go out and buy a house. This will be a good investment. So I bought a house.
Someday I'll meet Garrick in the neighborhood.
It was a different house. It was before that. But yes, ended up buying this house. But the first thing that I bought for this house, and I'm kind of embarrassed to even say it, but I'm going to because it's a good lesson. I bought this $8,000 hot tub. This jacuzzi. What? I'm like, here I am, 21 years old, and we really did, at least in terms of what I was taking home, we did pretty good that first year. And I'm bought this hot tub, and I was having parties at this house, it's just yeah.
How many staff meetings have been had in that hot tub?
There's some definitely embarrassing pictures that people would not want to hit the internet, and they're out there. But I think
that should be the new cover
and it was
photo.
it was an 8-person hot tub. I mean, it was a pretty large hot tub. But I'm just saying, when I look back, I actually ended up trading it for advertising later. I was like, I need to get this hot tub out. I was actually moving. I was like, I need to get this hot tub out of here. Who wants a hot tub? And ended up trading it for ads for new scooters for less and something. But yeah, it was definitely one of those
I think as business
lessons to be
owners-
learned, because I would never do that. Looking back, I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have not done that. I wish I would have invested that money somewhere else.
But you learned from it.
Of course.
Well, I know in order for us to grow, I've had to really, really reinvest every single penny that, when I opened up, I felt and I did have to still make a living. It wasn't like I could go 3 years without pulling a paycheck out. I had to make a living. I wasn't in a position not to.
But we
to
do
make
tell
money.
ourselves that a lot. We do I've had some friends entrepreneurial friends really looking at my business saying you need to look at what you're doing,
Right.
because you keep telling yourself that you're reinvesting into the company, but you still need to live, Collin.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't want to stress your wife out about making the mortgage at home because you're reinvesting into the business.
Right.
Well,
Well, and I think that that's a place where we end up struggling. You say you bought a jacuzzi. Well, I probably bought a printer I shouldn't have. I probably bought 3 printers in the last 2 years I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
That are still in the shop.
Yeah, well, it's better to invest it into the business than it is into a hot tub.
Well, when the stock market was crashing, I was like, I'm going to go out and buy a printer. And the philosophy there was, everything that I put into General Motors became valueless, And that printer allowed me to generate that first $100,000. Well, actually, that printer probably generated $250,000 worth of work. So at the end of the day, to me, that was a better investment. Now, if I had bought GM on that front end back then, and after they went bankrupt and I lost the money that I had in GM, if I'd rebought it, it probably would have been as good or better an investment. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah. We got to start wrapping up, but I want to give Maria the last question. Do you have a last question?
I'm not even sure. I don't know.
You can ask a veteran entrepreneurs anything. Veteran entrepreneur right here, what would it be? Or from a marketing standpoint, marketing and sales.
I think more than anything, something I was curious about, hearing you guys talk about having different businesses is when to know like when to move on, you know, like when, like you said that you had like different companies that you sold them and you moved on to the next one. So like kind of what was your determining factor to say like this project like has come to maturity and like
And
I'm
you've been
ready to
there
move
kind
on?
of, you know, with Wift Outfitters, you've been kind of there.
That's
when
a
you
good
lost your
question.
passion. When you lose your passion, it's time to move on. So I still technically own my clothing company, and I have multiple people on a weekly, monthly basis that come to me and ask, you know, when we're going to release something new, and my exact answer is whenever you guys want to do it. I no longer have a passion for that. I've moved on from that. Now, there's nothing wrong with, you know, still continuing to let it run, or, you know, if you, for some reason, ever lost your interest in Unbox, there's nothing wrong with starting a side hustle that becomes your main hustle and keeping that in the background.
Or selling it.
Or selling
I
it.
sold a donut shop in Denell and used the money. I remember, like, you know, I told these people I want X $1,000, and they were like, "Oh, that's so much cheaper than I can build it myself. So we'll take it." And then I went to them like a week later, and I said, "If you bring me $5,000 less, but do it today, I've got an opportunity to buy some equipment tomorrow." So, you know, you can. You know, these are assets. These are tangible assets, these businesses, and so you can sell that as well. And I think that there's a, you know, for me, I'd already moved on, you know, mentally. You know, so you'll know, I think, when you've already moved on mentally, you know, lost your passion, if you will, or, you know, if something. I've done a lot of things that were just unprofitable. I mean, just
Okay, is there anything that you held on to like for too long? Where you
printers.
know- no, but from a business standpoint, like
Yeah, so I also used to own an installation business, and again, lost my passion in it, and I knew it was time to get out, but I was still making tons of money with it. So I'm sitting there continuing to run a business I'm no longer enjoying, and what happened is my customer bases knew that. You know, they could sense every meeting we'd have, I was less interested, I was less engaged, and so it just slowly went downhill where I could have sold it, you know, at the high point, and I probably would have got, you know, about $120,000 for it. I ended up selling for about 70 because half my customer base had moved on to a contractor that was more involved. So yes, once you've lost that passion, you have to be able to step back no matter what the money is, and know that it's time.
And there are some things that are just unprofitable. I mean, if you know, there's the definition. You know, if you're not meeting your marginal costs, it's not something you should be doing. You know, because you'll never ever volume out of that.
yeah.
I mean, it's just not going to happen.
It's been a good conversation, guys
Fun.
and
I
girls.
loved it.
I like. Well, thanks for. I mean, that was a great question. Good questions, all of them. This is. Do you mind if I share this on our page? Because you
Can
have
I fix the typos?
No, just leave them. I like it. I like it. It's raw and authentic. I mean, because I'm like looking through this, and there's some just these, you know, unique Garrick management concepts, and I mean, even things that like teach employees to clean the bathrooms first.
Yeah, that comes from
And-
the donut business.
Yeah, I mean,
if I
and-
taught them to clean the bathrooms on day 2, it wasn't the primary responsibility. It was a secondary item.
And firing bad customers. I mean, there's just a lot of good stuff in here. So, do you have to? Did I forward this to you?
No, you haven't.
All right, I'm gonna forward this to you if we can get it up on the website.
Yeah, you
Are
can
cool
share
with
it,
that?
of course.
All right, because I think this would be interesting. So just go to the website whoagnv.com. Look for. Is it under Wrap Spot? It'll be under Wrap Spot. Garrick, like look for their spot on the calendar. Click it, open it up, and all of it will be right in there. And I'm gonna put this in there because I think this is a lot of good tips and information. So go check that out. And then again, I just want to thank you guys. One to Garrick for creating balddudesclub.com.
I feel like we totally need to go fix that now. So
I know,
go ahead
if
and
somebody actually went there, I don't even know what it would show.
call the web guy, tell him to fix it up.
Yeah. So I wish we could have spent a lot of time on that.
Well, I did shave my head for this.
Yeah.
So.
But go check out that website. But no, seriously, guys. Like,
One quick thing.
yeah.
Bald Dudes Club. So I put this out there. You know, I'm sending out stickers and membership cards to people and T-shirts and it was kind of like Salt Life, and you know, in that, you know, one of those lifestyle brands. You know, just something fun that we were doing because we were kind of had an interest in it. So I'm kind of doing this stuff, and this freaked me out. This guy sends me a picture where he tattoos Bald Dudes Club logo on himself.
No.
And I was like, are you kidding me? I mean, there's just no way that, and it was a really good
It's a
render.
lifetime membership right there.
I sent him like a dozen shirts.
That guy's gonna hear this podcast
Yeah.
and be like, "We did it."
I mean, they were on. It was hysterical. But but it just.
Well, again, like, thank you for being our first sponsor and giving away this wrap. I'm super excited to see who's going to win this thing. Again, if you're listening, just go to whoagnv.com.
We gotta do like a time lapse of doing it. And,
Yeah, we should totally do that.
And whoever wins it, if they get all that stuff, they can repost that, and I mean, it's just gonna be awesome for
It's
everybody.
gonna be super awesome. I'm so stoked. So whoagnv.com, click giveaway, fill out the form, get entered to win, and then we're going to give it away here in a few weeks.
I'm pretty sure
And
any employee that wins that for their boss gets like instant employee of the year.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Like, guaranteed.
it's gonna be awesome. And then go check out the event. When was it again?
March 29th.
March 29th.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. It's a Friday night.
Ribs, beer, live wrapping of a vehicle, Elio performing.
Yeah.
You kind of can't beat it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So,
Entertainment for the whole family.
and Maria, thank you so much for being my guest co-host.
Thank you for
You were
having me.
awesome.
She's better than you, Collin.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
she should have her own podcast.
I mean, her shirt just killed the whole thing. So I mean, she walked in a room, won.
Well, keep doing amazing things. Thank you for your work with Repaint, and I can't wait to kind of see where Unboxed goes and to hear your ventures with that. So keep it up. Keep up the hustle. Keep up the grind.
Thank you.
All right, and Gainesville, everybody, thank you so much for listening. This is the WHOA GNV podcast, the podcast bringing you businesses and individuals that make you go, whoa,
Whoa.
whoa, woo.
Whoa.
We'll see you later. Bye.
Yay.